11 through 13. Genesis 21, 11 through 13.
And of the son of the maid I will make a nation also, because he is your descendant.
All right, God is going to honor, but he clearly says, but the blessing I'm passing on through Isaac. So there is clearly this line that will be followed. And look at chapter 26. I like chapter 26, verses 2 through 5. Chapter 26. And here's Isaac. Isaac pulled the same stunt that his dad did. She's my sister. Only it was a half-truth with Abraham. It was a full lie with Isaac. Okay. So in chapter 26, verse 2 through 5, somebody read that for me, would you?
Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For you and your descendants I will give all these lands, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham your father. And I will make your descendants multiply as the stars of heaven. I will give to your descendants all these lands, and in your seed all the nations of earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my law.
All right. So what he is saying is, I made a promise with Abraham. You're the one that's carrying it on. God is speaking. He says, you're the one carrying it on. It was not Abraham's choice. It was the choice of God. So that is how that comes out. Now, Jacob. If Jacob were going to play a table game, what do you think his favorite game would be? If Jacob were going to play a table game, I think his favorite game would be Monopoly. Because he set out to get everybody else's stuff and put hotels on it. He set out to own everything that everybody else owned, whether it was his brother or his uncle. He was going to own it all. Jacob was a deceiver, but he was a conniver. I mean, this guy really went out and he thought the goal in life is own everybody else's stuff. So the birth of Isaac. It's interesting when these two boys are born that Esau is born first, but when he comes out, Jacob has a hold of his heel. He's like, come back in here. I was supposed to be born first. Hey, you, I want the birthright. Get back in here. I mean, it started right at the birthing process, and Jacob was pulling at the heel of his brother Esau. Okay. Now, what is a birthright? Well, a birthright is the inheritance rights of the firstborn. And as a general rule, they would have at least a double portion. But they would also be the one that would be in charge of land and the distribution of that. And so the firstborn really had a great deal of authority. When Jacob has his son Joseph, he treats Joseph as a firstborn son. What do you think Reuben thought of that? it was really a slap in the face, because I really didn't want to be married to Leah anyway. I really just wanted to have children by Rachel. Rachel? Yeah. And so when he does, then that's the way he treats Joseph like a firstborn. But these two boys are born, Jacob and Esau, here. And so the birthright had to do with inheritance rights of the firstborn. And to sell that meant you were selling your inheritance, your blessed position. And a blessing in this context was a passing on of the covenant. Really, according to Hebrews 12, 16 and 17, the blessing and the birthright are inseparable. And the person with the birthright also has the blessing of the Father. But that is what is happening here. And you know how that came down. Jacob was trying to add, hotels, trying to add stuff that belonged to his brother. And his brother came in from the field, and he was famished, and he said, "Give me some of that stew you've made there." And Jacob said, "Well, I'll sell it to you." "Well, what do you sell it to?" "Your birthright." "Well, what would a birthright do me any good? I don't care." "Yeah, I'll sell it to you. Give me some of that stew." And so he ate the stew, but he had just sworn that he was giving up his firstborn inheritance rights. And you know then what happened later. When Dad was old, Isaac was old, and he couldn't see too good, it was time for him to pass the blessing on, and he fully intended to pass that blessing on to Esau, his favorite. He had a favorite son, and his wife had a favorite son, Jacob. And you know what happened? They played a game of charades. And I really am Esau, your firstborn. You don't sound like him. Come over here. Yeah, you smell like him. And it feels like him. Okay, well, maybe you are him. And so he passes this blessing on, and then here comes brother in from the field. And brother is so mad, he says, "I'm going to kill you. I am going to kill him." Of course, that's learned, and so Jacob is sent away. Get away from here, because your brother's going to kill you if you don't. Okay. So the covenant is passed on to Jacob in Genesis 28, 1 through 4. Would you turn with me to Genesis 28, 1 through 4. He sends him to one of my favorite places, Pandan Aram. I like that place, Pandan Aram. So he sends him to Pandan Aram and to your mother's father Bethuel, and take a wife for yourself there from among the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And may God bless you and make you fruitful and increase your numbers until you become a community of people. May He give you, your descendants, the blessing given to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now live in as an alien. The land God gave to Abraham. Clearly, He is passing on this blessing to His son Jacob. All right. I've thought this is probably the first time that he's been away from home. And look at we're still in the same chapter, 28. He leaves home, and that night he uses a rock for a pillow. And I'm kind of interested, is there anybody here who's ever used a rock for a pillow? Does anybody here would say, my pillow feels like a rock sometimes? Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, a piece of wood or something. He uses rock for a pillow, but in the night there's this vision that he has of God. And look at verse 13. There above it stood, well, he had a stairway in verse 12. The stairway reaching up to, resting on earth, top reaching to heaven, the angels of God ascending and descending on it, and there above it stood the Lord, and He said, I am the God of the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are living.